Joshua chapter 24 has some powerful words for us this morning. A great challenge for a new year. Beginning in verse 14 of chapter 24, Joshua is easy to find. Go to Genesis and hang right a couple of books before you get to Judges. 24:14. Now, therefore, fear the Lord, and serve him in sincerity and in faithfulness. Put away the gods which your fathers served beyond the river, and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. And if you are unwilling to serve the Lord, choose this day whom you will serve, whether the God your fathers served in the region beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Then the people answered, Far be it from us that we should forsake the Lord to serve the gods. For it is the Lord our God, who brought us up and our fathers up from the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, and who did those great signs in our sight, and preserved us in all the way that we went among all the peoples through whom we passed. And the Lord drove out before us all the peoples, the Amorites who lived in the land. Therefore we also will serve the Lord, for he is God. That's a pretty good reason to serve the Lord, because he is God, isn't it? No response. That's a pretty good reason to serve the Lord, because he is God, right? Just want to be sure you're still with me. Not frozen. Frozen in or frozen out. It's allergy season, folks. That's what this is. It was the Sabbath. It was a Sabbath in northern Italy in August. The man stood beside an ancient bridge over a muddy, slow-flowing stream that ran down into the Adriatic Sea. On beyond this river to the south was a small village of Rimini, and yet this almost nameless, obscure river and that small village were to become one of the most important and pivotal points in world history. Because it was here in 49 BC that Julius Caesar stood and faced a decision in his life. Caesar, with his Roman legions, had swept through Cisalpine Gaul. I can say the word. Cisalpine Gaul, which is located on the south side of the Alps. And he had conquered all the warring tribes up there. That now had become his province, his empire. But back down in Rome, the Senate, under the control of Caesar's arch-rival Pompey, seeing the threat of this popular general and his mighty legions, had ordered Caesar to disband his armies now that he had brought peace to the land. And here Julius Caesar stood with a great decision to make. Hold back or move forward. Caesar whipped his horse, plunged his chariot against the muddy river, and on to the south toward the Rubicon, which was the dividing line between Cisalpine Gaul and Italy proper, to go challenge the enemy and the Senate and seize control of Rome and the whole of the empire. As he made this decision that determined his destiny and the destiny of the whole world, he turned to a friend, and this is recorded in history books, and he said, if I pass not this river immediately, it will be the beginning of all misfortune. Wow. His destiny and that of the world hinged on his decision and his action. Right then, right there, he made his decision. He made his choice. He took a step forward, and all history was forever changed. Now it's a simple matter of life and history that people of feeble decision, or people of indecision, or people of feeble resolve, those that can't decide, seem never to be heard from again. In history, the future belongs to those who can gather up even the raveled ends and tie them in a knot and say, I will, as they decide, and go and move and act. Someone once asked Alexander the Great the secret of his world conquest, and he answered in 3 simple words: by not wavering. By not wavering. He had a goal. He made a decision and he drove relentlessly toward his goal, not wavering. Not wavering for a moment. Well, there was another great general, likened to Caesar, who made an impact on the eternal destiny of the world. This was perhaps one of the greatest generals who ever lived, one of the greatest heroes of the time and of the Bible. And his name was, first answer in the back of your sheet here, ready? His name was General Joshua. Joshua. If you look at the story of Joshua, you'll see him as a young man who went as one of the 12 spies sent in to scope out the land of Canaan. As those spies came back, Caleb and Joshua were the 2 that came back and said, let's go. Let's go and take the land, seeing as how the Lord is with us. The other 10 spies said, oh, no, we can't go. The people they are seeing as big as giants. Let's don't take a risk. Let's don't take a chance. Because of that decision, the Hebrews went back and wandered in the wilderness for 38 more years. That'd be like trying to find a parking spot at the mall for 38 years. But Brother Joshua, he stood tall. See him as the general who leads the people of Israel after the wilderness experience on across the flooded Jordan River and on to seize the city of Jericho. See him marching onward with his army, winning victory after victory after victory, conquering the land that God had promised them years earlier. See him as the general on his knees in prayer before God, pouring out his heart to the Lord. See him listening in all humility as a servant of God, faithful, obedient to his Lord. See him as a great giant of the faith, a hero in every way, loyal, faithful, courageous, and obedient to God. A man of decision and action. A man we can learn from for daily living. The setting is this in Joshua 24. Joshua's approaching the end of his life. He's now an old man, an old soldier. He's called the people together and recited to them the blessings of Almighty God. How God had been with them all the way back to Abraham. And as he moved the story forward, he said, remember how God was with us back in Egypt when we were in bondage? And how he delivered us out and brought us to the promised land? And then he drove out the people God did before us. And he gave us victory after victory. And then he said, it's all yours. God said to us, it's all yours. But then Joshua reminded these same Hebrews of their times of wavering and their times of doubt when they lacked faith. He spoke of their indecisions, their times of murmuring, and how they longed to go back to Egypt. We'd be better off back in Egypt making bricks for the Egyptians than we would be to go out there where there might be giants. Joshua reminded them that they began to worship the gods of the Amorites. And they had tried to straddle the fence with half loyalties to God and half to the world at the same time. Let me tell you a personal illustration. Years ago, as a young man, I was down in Greensboro, North Carolina, where there's a wildlife club, and they have boats that you can use. And I was there to fish on a very cold fall day. And the boats were tied up by the dock. And I went out and untied the flat-bottom 68-foot boat I was going to use. And I put one foot in the boat and had one foot on the dock. And tried to determine which way to go. And the boat made the decision. For it went out. The dock stayed still. But I got baptized. When we don't make decisions, we sometimes get paralyzed in midair. Having said all of that, Joshua then to the people gave a great challenge and a great example, and he coupled both of those with a great urgency. In our text today, we heard Joshua say, "Choose this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." That's a great challenge for us this morning. I want us to take a look at the challenge and the example and the urgency for the new year that lies before us. First, I want us to look at a great challenge. It's simple. It's simple. A great challenge. Joshua said, "Choose this day." Have you ever been with a child into an ice cream store where there's a number of ice cream to choose from? Or maybe a candy store, and they're trying to make their decision. And they hem and they haw, and they hem and they haw. Or men, if you can't relate to that, have you ever been with your wife to the mall? Right. Women go in to shop. Men go in to conquer. We know what we want. We conquer and we leave. Joshua said to the children standing in the candy store, the children standing in the ice cream store, make a decision. Choose. Decide now. There's a time for thinking, for weighing the evidence, for considering all the alternatives, but doggone, make a decision. And then get busy. If thinking doesn't lead to an action, what good is it? We're plagued with the kind of thinking that reveals or unravels itself about. And we think and we think and we ponder, but we never seem to be able to tie the ends together with a definitive decision. We spin our daydreams, but we never seem to really make it come to pass. That seems to be the case for too many Christians and too many churches. I once talked with a man who shared a very interesting personal story with me. He said he'd been in business for 28 years with the same company. He had served in a management position. He liked the job. But he was challenged to leave that company and go and start his own business. Something he had longed to do for most of his life, something he had thought about doing, but he was timid. He was afraid to try. Because you see, if you try, you might fail. Finally, he prayed, Lord, I step out on faith if you will only allow me not to be afraid. He didn't say, allow me to be successful or not to fail. But Lord, I'll do this if you will help me not to be afraid. He said a real peace came within himself. Told his wife about his prayer, and together they stepped out on faith. They plunged ahead with the new business. They were blessed beyond their wildest dreams as God prospered their new venture. The man told me the greatest thing about the opportunity was that he wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid. And God gave the blessing. That's exactly what Joshua said. All the evidence is there. You've experienced a great deal, he said. You've tried the Amorite gods. You've tried Jehovah. And you followed this way and you followed that way. And now it's time. Make a decision. Stop contemplating and decide which direction you're going to go. Decide today who you're going to serve. Dr. Hillis was a great English preacher. He told the story of visiting in Paris one time with a friend who said, hey, come with me. I want you to meet I want you to go to the studio of the greatest living artist in all of Paris. You won't even know his name. The preacher agreed, and he went with a friend, and they went up some attic steps to a small studio on top of a building where he saw plastered all around the ceiling and the walls and lying in stacks some 10,000 pencil sketches. They were magnificent, beautiful sketches. And the friend said, this is the greatest artist in all of Paris. Look at the human figures, the buildings, the sunsets, the landscape, all of this. Look how beautiful they are. But notice one thing about every one of them. Not one sketch has been finished. Not one sketch has been transferred from paper over to canvas. This artist has dreams, but he lacks the ability, the willingness, the discipline to stay with the dream until he can translate it into oil and paint and make it permanent on canvas. Oh, I would to God that he would do so. For he's the greatest artist. But it's just dreams. It's just dreams. For he never puts action to his dream. Does that describe any of us today? Do we have a propensity towards dreams without actions? Are we ever guilty of indecision, especially when it comes to spiritual matters? You see, if we make a decision, first lesson we can learn for this new year, the challenge that lies before 4 Mile Creek Baptist Church, is this. General Joshua says, make a decision. Choose the path you're going to take. No matter how long you've walked in the pathway, there's always the option to step off, to head in a different direction. So choose. Where are you going? As you look back at the past year, what dreams did you have? What wishes did you possess? What did you do with those dreams? One of the saddest things in life is when people stop dreaming. Bob Dale, a professor friend of mine from Southeastern Seminary, who came to Virginia and was our second in command under John Upton for years, has a book called Dream Again. And that's exactly what churches need to do. We need to dream again. We need to look at who we are and where we're going, and then we need to step out and act upon those dreams. What thought, what wish, what dream has God planted in your heart for your life, for your ministry, for this church? And what did you do with that dream? It's time to choose, to decide, and to act. Choose this day. Well, that's the first thing. Still got plenty of time to talk, and Joshua matches this with a great example. A great challenge, a great example. Choose this day whom you will serve. And then he said in personal example, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And don't get real frustrated because I think I left out one of the blanks there. Just add it. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. That's our decision, and that's our example. That's our personal accountability. To whom are you accountable? He said, as for me, in the quiet solitude of my inner self, I choose to be accountable to Almighty God. It's not the circumstances of life that matter, but the personal decisions we make in our heart and how we act upon those decisions that really count. Too many people make private decisions but don't follow through with them. They can get creative in their minds, but they don't step out in faith and follow through. We can get creative with our rationale for not stepping out and following through. It's not the external that keeps us from stepping out. It's the internal. I found a poem, and I like it. It says this: one ship sails east, and one sails west by the self-same wind that blows. But it's the set of the sail and not the gale that determines the way it goes. It's not really what happens in your life, but how you react that counts. It's how you set your sail that really determines which way you're going to go. That's true for the individual, and that is true for this church. Joshua says, as for me, this is my decision. Others can inspire me, but they can't control me. Others can persuade me, but they can't decide for me. Others can pray for me, but they can't determine my destiny. We will all stand one day before God, and we will answer to Him for the decisions we've made or haven't made for Him. There's a personal accountability, a personal responsibility for all of our choices. Parents may lead their children for a while, but there comes a time when a child must decide which path they will choose, which actions they will take. And then they must accept responsibility for their actions and their destiny in life. So I say to you, make your decision now. Where should we go as a church? What should I be as a Christian? How should I act? And then step out and follow God's will. And lastly, we have a great challenge. We have a great example. And it's coupled with an urgency. Listen to what Joshua said. Choose this day. There's an urgency there. Can you hear it? What urgency? Why must I choose today? Well, maybe this will help. Throughout my 40-some-odd years in ministry, I have had people say to me, Pastor, I was right on the edge of making my decision today. I wish I had. And I can't tell you how many times I watched as they walked away, only to fade away. They failed to make the decision for Christ. Making a public confession of faith, uniting with the church, saying yes to this decision of this call. Choose this day. Don't delay. Make your decision. Because if you don't, someone else will make the decision for you. Time will make a decision for you. Old Father Time often settles matters for us. When we delay, time steps in and makes decisions for us. And then there's pride or ego. It often makes decisions for us. I know folks who wouldn't or couldn't make their decision for Christ because they were too proud to let others know they needed a Savior. You see, if I step out, somebody might think I'm a sinner. Let me assure you of one thing. We all know you're a sinner. Every one of us are, right? All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Every one of us are sinners. So you're no better and you're no worse than the rest of us. How does that make you feel? But God sent His love in spite of your sin, that you might have His grace and eternity. So if you're too proud to admit you need the Savior, you're making the decision to unite with Satan himself. Either that or Jesus is a big fat liar. Right? Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No way to the Father except by me. There's only one life, through Jesus Christ. Right. Our pride gets us in trouble sometimes. We all know that pride makes too many decisions, and often not the right ones. Then there's a little practicality. Left you a little space for that big word. Practicality God can make decisions for us. It's not practical to give my tithe to the Lord. You see, if I give my tithe to the Lord, I can't afford to do this, that, and the other. I can't afford to. Oh, yeah? I can't afford to serve the Lord. You see, I've got way too much to do. I'm way too busy. What would it be like if we got a dozen people together and we began to pray? Father, anybody named Joe here today? Father, old Joe over here says he can't afford to tithe. So what we're going to do is pray, Lord, that what he spends his money on is taken away so that he'll have plenty of money to be able to tithe to you. Lord, old Joe over here says he can't afford to serve you. So we're going to pray that you take away all those things that he's involved in so that he'll have time to serve you. Now, how many of you want us to begin praying that kind of prayer? We don't want that at all, right? I don't want to pray that for me. I'll be honest with you. But practicality, I'm going to tell you, will make a decision for you. Practicality steps in and it takes over. Be careful. There's an urgency involved in choosing who we will serve. When we delay our choice, we're giving our choice over to someone else. When we delay our choice, we're giving in to others. So Joshua said, General Joshua said, in his old age, standing before the people, standing on the verge of greatness, he says, today, I'm choosing to make God the leader of my life. Now, understand something. Joshua's been letting God lead for a long time. Joshua's that guy you want in the church. He's that guy that's serving in every capacity he can serve in. He's that guy who's doing everything that needs to be done, right? But Joshua was standing before these same people and he's sharing his testimony. Today I choose to renew. Today I choose to rededicate myself to the cause of my God. And I believe with all of my heart that's the great decision and challenge that is before us for this year. When the leadership of the church comes to the place and they can say, today I choose to rededicate myself in fullness and wholeness to the Lord God Almighty. Today I choose to rededicate everything I am to the cause of Christ through his church. That's the day we start heading in the right direction. And that's going to be hard for some of us. I have believed and I've said it out loud. I could stand at the front of the church and offer $1,000 if you would just walk down the aisle and shake my hand. And there'd be some people who would stand with you because they're not about to step out and let somebody think they're making a decision. Now there'd be others that run down there 2 or 3 times. I want to tell you, today you must choose. You can't walk out of here and say, I haven't been challenged to make a decision. Wednesday night, final prayer. I think I prayed something like this. Lord, I'd love to see the front of the church filled with people on their knees, rededicating themselves. Listen, I stand down here. You don't have to come to me. You don't have to come to me. Simply take a stand down front. Take a knee. This is the time to take a knee, okay? You don't want to come all the way down front, just step out the aisle. But make a conscious decision. I want to be used of the Lord to get 4 Mile Creek where she needs to be. I want to be praying right now for that person that's coming to lead our church. Whether it be tomorrow or 100 tomorrows from now. How long is that? It's about a year and a half. Choose this day whom you will serve. Take your stand. Declare your faith. Refresh your testimony to the Lord. Choose this day. There's an urgency. There's an urgency. Choosing who you will serve.